Hey guys, Jonathan here, and today we're taking a look at all of the August 1st LEGO Star Wars minifigures that are releasing and ranking them from worst to best. Now, everything here is my personal opinion, and LEGO sent me these sets early, so all thoughts and opinions on that front are my own, but you can check out the reviews on my channel now, so let me know what you think of those, let me know what you think of the sets in general, and if you agree with my ranking, and without further ado, let's get right into it, starting now. In last place, to nobody's surprise, are the battle droids. Not that there's anything wrong with the battle droids, they're great, but we've gotten so many of them and they bring the least newness to the table, so they're coming in at last place. Right above them are the Super Battle Droids. I think that these are a little bit more unique than the regular Battle Droids and a little bit more difficult to army build, so while they're not the worst or really even the least interesting in this list, they are second from the bottom just because we've gotten them many times before. Now, this droid pilot was previously only available in a GWP from a while back, so it's actually really awesome that we now have him in the sets here. Granted, he does come in a very expensive $160 set, that being the MTT, so again, not the most groundbreaking figure, but definitely nice to get him again outside of that GWP. I do believe we've gotten this Wicket headpiece and minifigure before, so kind of like the others, not too much to get excited about here. Definitely a nice minifig if you don't have Wicket yet, but to my eye, I don't actually think it's new. But if it is new, somebody in the comments can let me know, but even still, he would rank the same even if it was brand new head to toe. Up next, we have the brand new Commando droids. I really love that there's printing kind of around the rib area, as well as brown on the shoulders and the red dot, and I think that these look really great. I love that the color scheme is what it is. I know there's been some conversation like maybe these should have been brown, but I actually like them quite a bit for what they are. All three of them come in the Battle of Felucia set, the MTT, and it's just a really nice way to build out your Separatist droid army, so I dig these quite a bit. Next up is young Boba Fett. Not a bad minifig, although the hair choice does still puzzle me. This figure debuted in the UCS Django Fett Starship Slave 1 set, and now he reappears in the minifig play scale version of the Slave 1. I think it's nice that they did put a previously exclusive minifig in a relatively or comparatively cheaper set, but that hairpiece is quite odd. So really, the reason he's listed here is because he doesn't bring too much newness to the table since he technically is in another set, but at the same time, that set was very expensive, so more people will have a chance to get this, which is always a plus in my book. Up next is K2SO. Now, this is the third set ever to come with K2SO, and the second set to come with this version of the droid. Of course, the other one is the U-Wing from Andor Season 2, which is currently on store shelves now, and I do think this is a great minifig. But kind of like the others, since he did come in another set, he's not quite as unique, and every minifigure from here on up is technically exclusive to the sets that they come in, at least as of the recording of this video. So now we'll take a break for an honorable mention, and that, of course, are the minifigs from the Rebuild the Galaxy set, as mentioned. I think that all three of these minifigs look super promising. Of course, Sig gets our first ever orange lightsaber in LEGO Star Wars canon. Then, of course, Darth Dev looks great with that printed arm, and Solitus looks amazing as well. I mean, come on, that minifig looks so good, but like I said, I actually can't open and review this just yet, so really all I can say is that these minifigs do look really great, and because I can't open them and look, it's not really fair to rank them, so yeah, stay tuned for that review coming soon, and let me know what you think of these three. So as mentioned, all of the minifigs from here on out are actually exclusive to the sets they come in, and ranking at number 12 is the ATST pilot from the UCS ATST. Of course, it's a nice figure, don't get me wrong, got that head there with only one side printed on it, and I do like that the, glasses or goggles or whatever are printed on the helmet itself, but no dual molded legs where this character in the movie clearly has black boots on, as well as the arm printing to balance it out. Definitely makes for a nice figure, but my least favorite of the minifigs in the traditional sense as we get deeper and deeper into this breakdown. At number 11, I'm putting Assange Ventress, and believe me guys, I want to rank this figure higher. It's the first Assange Ventress we've gotten in years, which is really cool, but there's just something about the print on the legs and the torso that almost make it look like a custom to me. Like, it doesn't have the same level of detailing that another LEGO minifigure does, and while it's not exactly a fair comparison, just look at the level of shadowing and print depth on, say, a 327th Clone Trooper compared to Asajj, or even comparing somebody from her own set. Look at Obi-Wan, how much depth and, just variance of shadow printing and everything. Like, we've got the folds of Obi-Wan's tunic that have a slightly different shadow shade, and then, of course, moving down to the legs, we've got the black and the gray, whereas on Asajj, we basically only have the gray highlighting her bandages and things like that. So again, not a terrible figure. I wish I could rank it higher. I just don't think that the print quality is quite as good as figures that even come in her own set, let alone the standard for LEGO Star Wars. At number 10, we have Ki-Adi-Mundi. Hopefully I'm getting his pronunciation right, but we've gotten him several times over the years. Not a bad minifig by any stretch of the imagination, but compared to some other figures on the list, he's just not quite as exciting to me. I do love that his hood is printed on the back of the torso, which is nice, and the belt printing, the leg printing, all of that looks great. Just, kind of what you would expect. I really don't know how LEGO could do it any better, but he's up against some tough competition as we get into the top 10 here, so let's continue on. At number 9, we have Commander Bakara. Such a great minifigure, and so cool to finally get him after all these years, but there are some slight things that definitely lose some points. First off, just like all clones, his, waist cape there isn't even attempted to be printed on the side, let alone giving us an actual accessory to go around his waist, so that's definitely a huge bummer. I get what they're going for with just the little red strips on the side there to represent the waist cape, but getting that instead of actually getting a waist cape feels so lazy from LEGO. When we lift it up, you can see he's got the Clone Trooper head underneath, exactly like you'd expect, and there's just something about the helmet that looks off to me. It's like he has chipmunk cheeks or something. Like, look at it from this angle. I really just can't explain it. There's just something about the helmet that the shaping and the proportions don't look right. It doesn't make it a terrible figure. I mean, heck, he's number 9 on this list, but still, just not my favorite, and it's cool to finally get him, but, it just feels like it stopped halfway. You know what I mean? At number 8, we have Django Fett. Now, this figure would be a lot higher if it was the arm printing version from the UCS Slave 1. It is quite odd that they didn't give us arm printing here. I guess LEGO is trying to preserve the uniqueness, of course, of the UCS version of Django, but they did it with Captain Rex, where in the Venator, they gave us Captain Rex in a cheaper set. In fact, the cheapest he could possibly come in a microfighter. This time around, this Django is price locked behind a $70 Slave 1 set, and it does look really, really good, of course, but yeah, I know a lot of people are disappointed that there isn't arm printing here. I too wish there was arm printing so everybody could get the most epic version of Django, but that controversy aside, it's still a great minifig with the brand new rangefinder. Of course, we can lift that helmet up to see Django's face with the scars on it, an angry expression on the alternate side, and overall, it is a phenomenal minifig that gives us everything we could possibly want out of a Django, of course, except for arm printing. That being said, I think if we never got the arm printing version of Django and we still got this one as it sits, we would all still be pretty happy because he is amazing. In 7th place, we have Aayla Secura. A lot like Ki-Adi-Mundi, of course, we've already gotten Aayla Secura, but it's been many years since, and I just think it's really great to get her again after all this time. That being said, I don't know that this figure brings anything new or revolutionary for Aayla Secura's LEGO variants from over the years, so, she's still ranked pretty darn high, but, she's kind of leading the middle of the pack here right now. I don't know that it's significantly better or worse than any previous version of Aayla Secura, so for that reason, I'm not ranking her in the top 3 or anything, but she is still a great minifig all around. At number 6, we have Clone Commander Bly, and I love this minifig. It does look great. Just like Commander Bakara, though, we have the same issue where he doesn't have any leg printing on, and they're basically just printing the waist cape on the legs, so that's definitely a bummer. As we move down to the helmet, or should I say up to the helmet, he does have this visor over his eyes, which looks good, which we can lift up if you want to see the printing there. I know that there's conversation about the prints on these helmets not being super accurate, but hey, for me, I dig these quite a bit, and I think it looks awesome. If we lift it up, he has the standard clone trooper head underneath, and you'll see that he has the new shoulder pauldron piece here, which we can lift off. It's a very hard plastic, so there's not really a lot of bend to it, and you can see that there's a little ridge under the shoulder there, so that when we place it on the shoulder, it actually doesn't move at all. It stays in place, and I love that that piece is added here for Commander Bly, and of course we'll see it on all 4 of the 327th clones, which are coming up very soon. At number 5, we have Lamasu from the Slave 1 Django Fett Starship set. This is such a cool minifigure for a lot of reasons. First off, if Django Fett's Starship just came with the figures it did, Boba and Django, and not Lamasu, I think we'd all still be happy. Of course, we'd still be complaining about that $70 price point, but the fact that this is added in with a brand new and exclusive headpiece mold here, I love that. It's super, super cool, and I don't know how you could possibly hate this figure. It really, really adds a lot to the table, and I love that we now have both of the most iconic Camino residents for our LEGO collections. At number 4, we have the Clone Pilot. I've wanted a regular Clone Pilot like this for so long, and finally having it in front of me is honestly kind of surreal. The helmet is so cool and brand new and unique for this figure. Of course, underneath, you guessed it, the standard clone head, but gone are the days where we have to pretend that a yellow clone is also a pilot. LEGO has finally given us a Phase 1 Clone Pilot, and there's so much to be excited about here, so he definitely earned his spot at number 4. The number 3 spot goes to the 327th Clone Troopers. These are so cool. Again, something I've really wanted for a long time, you know, just to really get more Clone Trooper variants in general. So these ones are definitely awesome. They have the same shoulder pauldron that we were talking about before on Commander Bly, and actually there's a lot of similarities between these when we look at them side to side. Of course, Bly has a unique torso in that he has those yellow pouches on his belt, as well as the yellow legs, and a more unique helmet with different printing on it. But as far as the clones go, we actually get 4 in the, yes, $45 battle pack. That's a whole separate discussion, but just the fact that we could talk about the figures is cool in their own right. So I really, really dig these. You guessed it, they've got those clone heads underneath. But yeah, I think that these are awesome, great for army building, and set an awesome precedent for how great clone troopers can continue to be with accessories. But hopefully the precedent that isn't set is these insane LEGO Star Wars prices from this wave. Because boy, oh boy, these prices are awful. At number 2, we can say a big hello there to General Kenobi. This is such a cool minifigure, guys. Not one I ever really expected to get, with LEGO going all out with the amazing arm printing on both sides, as well as the leg printing, and using the familiar Obi-Wan Kenobi face for him. I just think that LEGO did such a great job with this figure. And again, if we had gotten this without arm printing, I still think we'd be pretty excited, although I don't think he'd be number 2 on my personal list. So I really, really dig this and think LEGO knocked it out of the park. And to absolutely nobody's surprise, in the number 1 slot, we've got the Galactic Marines. Now, we get 3 of these in the $160 Turbo Tank Republic Juggernaut set, which I do think is a ripoff because that set is not worth $160, but these minifigures on their own merit are absolutely incredible. You know, I saw Revenge of the Sith in 2005 when I was a kid. I had so many of the LEGO sets back in the day, and I always wanted these guys because I had the 3 3/4 inch Hasbro action figure of him, and I just thought that this was the coolest ever. Now, it does suffer the same issue as the other Clone Troopers here, where the waist cape is printed on. How odd is it that I think every single Clone Trooper in this wave, except for the Clone Pilot, is supposed to have a waist cape, and yet none of them got it. They all got the printing. I think that's such a huge misstep from LEGO and really disappointing. That being said, the torso print is identical on all 3. Well, all 3 minifigures are identical anyway, but getting that amazing mask helmet combo print is so cool, and these literally exceeded my dreams of how awesome they could be. So they deservedly so earned the number 1 spot on this list. Alright guys, let me know if you agree with my ranking here or not. This was a lot of fun to put together, and honestly, seeing all the minifigs here together, it really is one of the best LEGO Star Wars waves in quite some time in terms of minifigure depth, detail, and everything there. I just wish those prices weren't as insane as they are. Anyways, let me know what you think of these figures and sets. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.